Welcome back to the AM show. We have a very beautiful conversation to have here. As today marks World Disability Day, we begin with a message marking the International Day for Persons with Disabilities. Dr. Henry Seydou Daannaa, who is Ghana's first visually impaired lawyer, and you remember him when President, I think it's President Mahama, who appointed him Minister for Chieftaincy and Traditional Affairs, and all the brouhaha that came up. He has released a statement celebrating major gains for the disability community in 2025. His remarks highlight two milestones: the record call of 8 persons with disabilities to the Ghana Bar this year, and the establishment of a new tertiary education fund to support students with disabilities. And in that particular statement, he's thanking several people, including the President John Dramani Mahama, for the leadership shown thus far. He mentioned the John Ejikunkufo Foundation and other NGOs as well for the role they've played. And we have him in studio, Dr. Henry Seydou Daannaa. I'm sure you sort of remember the controversy that greeted his nomination as the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. Doc Esquire, good morning. Thank you for coming.
Good morning.
How has life been after you retired from public service? You have not retired, but it's been a long time we saw you. How's life been?
Yes, well, you know, as somebody who has been a researcher all my life, it was time to do research into the areas that I've been engaged. Okay. And also, behind the scenes, doing what I can do for the disability cause. Okay. And that's exactly what has brought me here. We are celebrating 2025 International Day of Disability, and for us in Ghana, we have seen a big achievement which cannot be overlooked. If you remember, my call to the bar, 1997. And my appointment as minister, the hurdles we go through, you would understand why some of us are very happy that today we have as many as 8 persons with disability becoming lawyers in Ghana. And this tertiary fund for disability is a milestone. You know, we would have wished we had more, but the point is, a journey of 1,000 miles always begins somewhere. And we've gone far. And the GFD, Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations, and all the other organizations, NGOs in the forefront, let alone to talk about the government of Ghana, I think it's a year well noteworthy celebrating to encourage others.
I mean, to commemorate this year, former President John Ejikunkufo has released a statement. And as part of it, he says, quote, "Going forward, we must also confront the challenges that remain. Barriers in accessibility, employment, healthcare, prejudices that stigmatize, and negative societal attitudes. The task before us is to deepen inclusion, dismantle stigma, and ensure that our worthy policies translate into tangible improvement in the daily lives of people with disabilities." And you remember that it was during his tenure that he assented to the Persons with Disability Act 2006, Act 715. I mean, with what he's calling us for, what do you think we must all do in trying to make sure that all persons, irrespective of whatever, have access to employment, access to education, access to whatever that everybody has access to?
Thank you very much. You know, what is interesting is that when you talk of law, if you're not very careful, sometimes what we see is that the law is one thing. In practice, what goes on is another thing. Yeah. And the only way we can overcome this gap is through sensitization and public education. And I can understand where former president is coming from. And it's good we hear Ghanaians hear such noises to remind people of their social duties. Because sometimes if you are too quiet, it's like it's all right. So it's once in a while, it's good to remind people, take people's conscience. If there's a building, if you can go in, what about those who cannot? We have different nations on earth, we have different tribes, but at the end of the day, we are all human beings. And that's why if you look at the motto this year, the success of any human being in life is victory for humankind. That's the bottom line. And so I hope that this call he has made, which is very noteworthy, will prick the conscience of people. Sometimes not about the law, but also about conscience. That's why we are humans. We are not goats. We are not animals.
So with what you've just said, and the fact that in 2006 we passed this bill, but when you were nominated, it was faced with those criticisms. How did you take it as someone who was championing the rights of persons with disabilities?
I took it in good faith.
Okay.
All my life I've gone through things like that. And it started even at the One School for the Blind. And don't be surprised to know that even with the disabled people themselves, sometimes we have these problems. There were 3 of us in the school. My late friend and brother, Bashir Idris Okori, who rose up to become a chief state attorney after having journeyed through to London. In fact, he got into the decision group, LSC, that year. And then John Donchere from Nadoli, who was one of the 3 of us in the school. And for some reason, the 3 of us were all very young people. The bigger boys in the school didn't like us at all. And it's like anytime there was exam and you did very well, the teachers were insulting the bigger boys. And so it got so bad to the point that sometimes, we had this rule that we had about 84 students, everybody was blind. And so the rule was that if you are moving, you say, ago. So that if there's somebody coming, he will say, amen, so that you don't collide into each other. But if you are one of us, the brilliant boys, if you say, ago, if one of the bigger boys is coming, he will never tell you, amen. And when you bump to him, you get a dirty slap.
Oh.
You see, I'm trying to let you see something. If you are a person with disability and you are determined to take up the challenge, be prepared for such challenges. So if among ourselves this was happening, how much more people who were sighted? Are you getting me?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
So when appointment as the minister, when this issue came up, it was not new to me. But what made me happy was the response. After having worked with the chiefs for 19 years, in fact, I worked for it, and I think they appreciated the role I played in these conflicts, the major conflicts that erupted. I was a technical advisor to Daannaa Sapong during the first Northern conflict, and during the death of Daannaa, during Kufuor's time, I was technical advisor with the secretary reporting to Obetibe Lamte. And so I had every confidence that those doomsayers will fail, and they failed. Because a person with disability, what about if he has a knowledge which you don't have? Who is disadvantaged? You. And so what I'm happy is that all those things happened, yet they failed. In fact, that even made this a very widespread story. Yeah. And then people as far as Nigeria, Kenya, even the Hague, the human rights system, they consult me on disability. Sometimes people try to bring you down. Don't be worried. After they have failed, it makes you more popular.
Quite an interesting story. So with that experience, how must we go about dealing with persons with disability for them not to feel the experiences that you've gone through? Especially hearing today that even your own friends were beating you in school.
Yes. There are 2 things I want to say. First, to all my all those who are pioneers, all those who have taken up the struggle, in spite of the fact that they have disabilities, they should gather courage and never succumb. This is because it's not easy to become great. Sometimes you have to suffer and suffer to get to where you want to get to. But you shouldn't be deterred. And with what has happened this year, these two major events in Ghana, it speaks volumes. And those people to the public, I believe, as these things keep happening, many of them, you know, I keep referring to this in the Bible. Blind Bartimaeus. Blind Bartimaeus heard that Jesus Christ was passing by. Everybody was longing to see Jesus. And so blind Bartimaeus also thought that, well, I'm also a person, let me call. He's a son of David, have mercy on me. Only for the people to turn around and tell him to shut up. When able-bodied people want to see Jesus, Jesus, you too, you are calling on Jesus. But to their surprise, Jesus said, bring the blind man unto me. And the very people who were telling the man to shut up, they turned around and told him that be of good cheer, for the Lord is calling you. The same group. So as for human beings, when the going is good, they always join you. Of course, if it turns to the point that they will quickly turn around. But don't worry. That shouldn't deter, because if you win, if you are able to make it, they will come back. So I'm making this point that I think in Ghana we are making it slow but sure. It's painful, but we are getting there. With what has happened 2025, I think we are on course, and that's why we think that with statements rather coming from former President's quarter and with my release, it's sending good message to at least our colleagues in the international fora to know that in Ghana, a luta continua.
A luta continua. That a luta has birthed 8 lawyers, yeah?
Yes.
This year.
Yes.
This year. Quite interesting there. But some time ago in Ghana, we passed a law to make sure that we make public buildings accessible to persons with disabilities. How do you think we are faring with that? And what must we do?
You see, there are some who are of the view that probably people start going to court or taking some of this in litigation. But honestly, I think that what we need is more public education. You see, in this our country, if something is going on and nobody talks about it, it's like business as usual. And so I think it's something we need to talk about much more. The law, like we are saying, we've got the law, yes. But the law will remain a paper tiger if it is not being implemented. And so to implement it is what I'm talking about, the advocacy. And that's where these NGOs and the civil society organizations, that's why they come in. They come in. I think that we need to have much more discussions quite often about these issues. You know, sometimes it's like there are other pressing issues, but these are not pressing issues, but they are. And the disability canker. You see, one thing about it is that it can happen to a human being anytime. It can happen to you during your youth. It could happen to you during the prime of your life. And it could happen to you getting to the evening days of your life. So nobody's free from it. And that's why I think people have to understand. Nobody becomes a person with disability by choice. But it happens. That's why, you know, it's a matter that it should be of interest to all. And one of the things that I feel very bad is sometimes you get calls, you get people contacting you, somebody who is 24, 25, and suddenly he gets up to find that he's no more who he is. Sometimes people like that feel like suicidal. Some of us had it since the age of 7. So I grew up in it. But what about those who, due to accident, get into this calamity? So these are the things I talk about conscience. See, let me refer to one adage. You see, in a country where law is out of touch with social reality, there's a calamity, there's social tragedy. So the laws are there, but what do we do? The law cannot implement itself. So we should get people by talking about it, do advocacy, then people would, people's conscience would prick. I think that's the only way to do this thing. But if we keep quiet, then it becomes business as usual.
Do you find time to talk about it with people when you go into areas and you don't find it being accessible to people with disabilities?
Yes, sometimes you do. And I like the way you put it. You see, I've done all my work in chieftaincy conflicts. And what I keep saying is that if you want to solve a problem, sometimes not necessary to beat the gong, 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 to let everybody hear that this is what you are doing. And so if you get the place and you see the place not accessible, probably I would not go on air like we are doing, but I will try and talk to somebody who matters in that place. Are you getting me? Yeah. Behind the scenes. And it helps. Because if people who matter, if day in, day out, they come here and they see this, they tell the authorities there, they will do something. They will.
Interesting. So we are having this conversation with Dr. Henry Seydou Daannaa. He is Ghana's first visually impaired lawyer and a former minister for chieftaincy and religious affairs. You will not forget his nomination if you were, you were woke during that time to political activities. You know how that particular nomination, turned out to be. But also, as we celebrate this special day, the clarion call is on all of us to play our role in making life better for people with disabilities, right?
Yes.
So 1 year, 2 years from now, what is your expectation from all your research of how life would be for persons with disabilities in Ghana especially?
Yes. As we talk, we have 2 Ghanaian students in the UK, University of Oxford. And anybody knowing University of Oxford, you understand what I'm talking about. One of the best universities in the world. One of them just finished, a blind student from Ghana. He finished. Another one just finishes a field work, and he's gone back to go and finish the PhD. Okay. So the point is that we are moving. And I believe that with this tertiary fund, in the next 2-3 years down the line, I expect, God willing, that we'll have more distinguished people who are gifted coming up. Not because that he's gifted, but because of his personal disability, he's abandoned. If we have 2 now, 2025, we may have more. Myself and Dr. Corey, we made it in 1981. And when we came back, we contributed a quota. And I remain chieftaincy. I publish articles in Harvard Law Journal. And I still do consultancy in the area. And so it would be nice if 2-3 years down the line, we have experts in various areas to let people see that disability is not inability.
Yeah. I like that statement. Disability is not inability. All right. So, Doc, but what's your viewpoint on, recently the Federation for the Persons with Disability was calling for a special employment for these people. We know that they were at the toll booth they were taking out. What's your own thinking on that particular call, that we should have a certain employment reserved for these persons?
Yes, all along, if we look at the 1992 Constitution, it has been, some provision has been there like that, that people should be progressiveness, so that positive, we call it positive discrimination. Mm-hmm. But there again, in practice, is that what we see? So, but I as you rightly say, let's keep. I will say that you don't give up. Let's keep picking the conscience of the nation. But you see, I always say that it's very important too that whatever special concession or whatever area that they put a PWD, person with disability, it is also very important that that person is able to do something to justify or to let people see that they can do it. Otherwise, if you're not able to, if you fail and you're not able to do it, they turn around to use it against you. I don't know if you get the point I'm making.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's like you give a dog a bad name, then you do what you hang it. And so when we talk about these things, we should also be aware that the person with disability you will get into area that you know that you are confident that you can perform, so that it's not used against you and your colleagues, because we've seen in the past.
All right, Doc. So as we wrap up our conversation, what would be your message to those who are watching us now?
Well, what I would say is that like one of our great rulers of this country, President Kwame Nkrumah, said, "Forward ever, backward never." And God is in control. So I think that every person should try to, with this tertiary fund now set up, I think the president has done well. He has done his bit. But the ball is now in the court of everybody. Try to work hard. You get into area that you think you can perform. Don't listen to don't go into areas because others are going there. Look for what you can do. And then to the Ghanaian public, you see, if you know you can help a person with disability, don't try to listen to people who are discouraging you from doing it. Because some of us are much forward. We've come across some people who has really shown interest. For example, we have one of our friends who is now in the Supreme Court, Justice Surubare. Would you believe that one was 11? Sometimes he would hold me with one hand, hold Bashir Idris Okorie the left hand, to take us to lectures and take us back.
Oh, so he is not visually impaired.
No, he's not. He's
okay.
a member. He's now in the Supreme Court. He has also been a Supreme Court judge.
Okay.
But for him, it would have been difficult for us. And so he played a very vital role. And I remember when we were in the Winchester School, there happened to be this Reverend Kofi Amponsa, the senior housemaster. And then the senior master, the headmaster, Usu Donko, who later left and went to Opokware Secondary School. They showed interest. You see, so we should encourage good Ghanaians to do that. It's not necessarily giving the person money, but if you can help that person to achieve that, by doing that, you open the eyes of many other people. I'll give you an example. When I finished from London School of Economics, 1992, this happened in 1992, and for 6 months, the issue was still hanging whether we would do the bar there or whether we come to Ghana to do the bar. Eventually, it came out that we would come back to Ghana. Then, as I was preparing to leave, something pricked me that I should go back to the LSE, maybe to look around, just see if I know people there. And when I got there, the librarian, the lady there, told me that there is somebody who had been itching to see me. Guess what? I went to the 3rd floor, the very cubicle I used to do my studies. There was an Ethiopian man there, and he was the one itching to see me. What is it? He asked, "Are you Daannaa?" I said, "Yes." "You did legal anthropology?" I said, "Yes." He said, his situation, his story is a very sad one. He came to do the PhD, but due to accident, he suddenly lost his sight. He was so traumatized, he had to go home to stay for a year or so. And people thought that, it was all over. But that somebody told him that he has come across these blind students from Ghana who came there, and they have been able to do the PhD. So that gave him courage. And so it's unfortunate that when we met, we couldn't spend more than 2 hours.
Oh.
I will never forget that incident. But I gave him all the encouragement, told him that the downfall of a man is not the end of his life. So he should be encouraged. And since then, we never met again.
Oh.
But I believe that God being God, he would have made it. So I was happy that at least the example of myself and Dr. Kure has inspired somebody who had nearly given up to come back to join the struggle. And I think this is the purpose of this celebration. The government will do everything to help. But if you, the person, if you don't also stand up, it will be difficult. I think this is a message.
You come across as a very strong-willed person. What was your biggest motivation as an individual?
Yes, like I say, so you see, we have, I don't need to be told. In my life, I've come to understand that there are some people in this life, they want to have a lot of money, a lot of position, a lot of comfort to live like heaven on earth. But that's not the reality. This life on earth cannot be like heaven. No matter what, you are bound to go through trials and problems, whether you like it or not. And so the earlier you prepare for the problems, the better. And I'm not talking about only PWDs. It's every human being. There are some people, they are not blind, they are not crippled, they are not deaf. But if you get to know the problems they are carrying on their head, it's not easy. So just the mindset. And so if you are a person with disability, if you don't have that strong nature or that kind of personal confidence, it will be very hard for you, to take up to and to go through the difficulties. After all, who doesn't have difficulties? Everybody has difficulties. So I would always urge people who find themselves in this situation that even if somebody is trying to run you down or try to make it help him similar, just do some checks. You'll find that he also has some problems that if he's honest, that's worrying him. So let's just believe that God doesn't hate anyone. God didn't make anybody blind or crippled just because he hates you. No. It is just that the work of God should be made manifest. And so in good faith, when you accept it, and you can go places. Acceptance.
It is then. Finally, what's your thought on the performance of this government so far?
Well, so far so good. At least look at what these two things we've got. So far so good. But my general decision is that there's no room for relaxation, particularly the conflicts in the country, chieftaincy. My advice to anybody in the public space, as an actor in the public space, when you are going to address or talk to a party, to a chieftaincy dispute, be mindful of your language. Don't just open your mouth and start talking. Think twice. It's a general advice. It doesn't, because if you look at it, more conflicts, more problems are everywhere. And from my experience, I was part of the struggle, the resolution of the first conflict during the 90s, during the time of the previous Otom for Pokuwari, the second. And during 2000, when the Daannaa was lost, met this disaster, I was the technical advisor advising Jacob Lamte and the Kufuor's government during that time. And what I'm saying is that the way we talk, sometimes you can work very hard, almost 90%, but somebody go and say something, not with any evil motive, but he just said it, keke, but he has only put fire on gunpowder. So the whole thing goes back to where you are. Because if you want to solve, even if deal with somebody, just be nice. Acknowledge him. Give him the dignity. If in chieftaincy, you give him the honor. Because give him the respect. Because we have what we call anti-chieftaincy maxim. That is, without chieftaincy maxim is about respect and worship. So without respect and worship, chieftaincy is like an empty shell. It's no egg. So if once you give that thing to the institution, it's very easy to solve the problem. It's very easy. But if you don't do it well, if you don't talk well or a certain way, I'm sorry. I don't think much will achieve. And that's my only advice.
Are there any regrets?
No, well, like you would have heard from, you would have seen in doctors' ways. I don't believe in regrets.
Okay.
You see, the moment you regret, you are losing something.
Okay.
Instead of regretting, stand up to the challenge. Stand up to the challenge. But the moment you begin to regret, particularly if you have this kind of disabilities, when you begin to regret, that's exactly what it will take the other part of you, and despair and despondency sets in. So I think no regrets. Okay. All what I'm saying is that let's stand fast and fight for Mother Ghana. Okay.
All right. Doc, I'm grateful to you for coming on the show today. Dr. Henry Seydou Daannaa is Ghana's first visually impaired lawyer and a former Minister for Chieftaincy and Traditional Affairs. We'll take a break here. We will be back with more. But even before, the features editor here, Joy News, did work on, disability, where he focused on some students at the University of Ghana, how one was helping the other go through school, even though both of them are people with disabilities. Watch this.
She's a 21-year-old student of the University of Ghana. Today, she's busy repairing her bicycle. This bicycle is more than just a mode of transportation. It symbolizes her independence and her commitment to helping others living with disability.
My name is Felicity Ajuri-Wedaba. I'm a person living with disability called achondroplasia. I'm unique and special in all my ways and aspects.
Felicity moves her hands with dexterity as she applies a cold patch to her bicycle tire, a skill she learned in order to save money and avoid the hassle of repair shops.
And my mom and dad always advised me to learn how to use those things to repair my bike instead of sending me to the market for repairing.
A bicycle is a lifeline, not just for herself, but for her friend Esther Badu, who is visually impaired.
For my condition, I thought it was the most tedious one. But when I came to the University of Ghana, I could see that mine was a little bit tough because some of them couldn't see. I thank God for my life, and then I was like, God, I didn't know that my problem was not as much as compared to others. I think I could help them because I can see.
Felicity and Esther's friendship began one Monday morning during a lecture. It was not until the lecture that Felicity discovered Esther's visual impairment.
When I came, I was always in my room. I was like, so how am I going to mingle with people? Stigmatization and stuff. Sometimes I would like to speak with someone, but they think being a visually impaired is contagious. So they will not like to come close to you. So when I met Felicity, I was like, wow. Although she's also a person with a disability, but she's helping me a lot.
The way she was looking at me, I thought she could see. I didn't know she was visually impaired. So she asked me for a guideline back to the lecture hall. So I told her that, how can this be? Because I know that you can actually see. Why are you pretending not to see? So she was like, she's a visually impaired, she can't see. So I decided to help her.
And so began a friendship. Every day, Felicity and Esther navigate the sprawling campus together. As Felicity rides, Esther holds her shoulder, guiding her friend to their lecture halls.
Every time I have to help her out by sending her to the lecture halls and all that. It has been a very difficult task for us, but I still insist of helping her by riding her to the lecture halls. Even though our lecture halls is at the top floor.
The photography of the land is not favorable to us. There are gutters, holes, steps and stuff. And she's using her bike. So when we get to gutter, we have to, because she has to get down and help her. I will help her with the bike, carrying it to cross the gutter before we continue. When there are steps, she has to get, it's stressful.
Their bond extends beyond the classroom. They study, cook, and share laughter during their leisure times. Felicity's heart is filled with compassion, not just for Esther, but for others living with disabilities. She finds joy in assisting her friends, despite the challenges they face.
Other people could see their problem to be contagious. They think that maybe coming in contact with them, they will actually be infected and other stuff. So I decided to be friends with her in order to give her a helping hand.
Their friendship is reciprocal. Esther helps Felicity with tasks like washing dishes and provides academic support, explaining difficult concepts during their study sessions.
Some of the animals also have reversed legs, lagoon.
Anywhere she's going, she wants me to go with her, and so do I. Like, we can't go and leave one another. Maybe she'll leave me in the room. When she's going to buy something, she'll be like, Esther, please. And I said, Felicity, how can I visually baby? I said, she said, no, I don't care. Let's move together. We move together. So anyway, so I really like, there is this friction between the two of us. Yeah.
Esther too cherishes their friendship, finding strength and comfort in their daily interactions.
It has been fantastic. We sometimes quarrel. Sometimes when it's time for lectures, I'll be tired. We'll not sleep early because we'll study the whole night. Maybe we'll sleep at 2 and stuff. So we had to wake up for the next lecture. She'll come and wake me up. I'll be like, Felicity, why did you come to wake me up? You have to leave me. Then we'll quarrel because of this thing. Then not serious fight stuff. We just fight and And she's not a kind of person, even if you say something, she'll be angry. She'll just, sometimes I do say something, I'll be like, Felicity, why are you not mad at me? She said, no. Then I'll just apologize. Then we move on. Yeah, so I really love our friendship.
Their shared moments of joy and mutual support paint a beautiful picture of what friendship truly means. Felicity dreams of becoming a journalist, using her voice to advocate for others with disabilities.
I want to be a journalist because I've not seen people giving news like me. And for that matter, I would like to use the power of the microphone to advocate for persons living with disabilities.
We want the whole world to know of our friendship, a visually impaired and a person living with a quadriplegia, being besties.
Despite the challenges, Felicity and Esther are determined to succeed in their academic pursuit and hope their friendship will inspire others, as well as highlight the need for better support for students with disabilities. Emmanuel Jivenu, Joy News.
My God will always lead me on.
Pentecost.